Welcome to Sports Overtime. Gabriella, Patrick Walsh, we had a great week of shows here, Southeast Sports Plus.
Yeah, we broke down all the biggest sports topics with our friends from across the Nexstar Nation.
Here's the best of.
We're so happy to be joined by the Texas men's golf coach, Coach John Fields. First of all, Coach, thank you so much for joining us here in your 29th season with the Longhorns program. Let's just talk big picture, the way 2026 has started to shape out as you now have yet another top 5 team.
Yeah, we're excited. First of all, the SEC is super talented. I'm not going to name all the teams, but it is phenomenal. And what I mean by that is that the top tier teams that are in the United States, Auburn's ranked number 1 right now. Florida's right there. Ourselves, Vanderbilt's really good. LSU's tremendous. And you're not even outside of the top 7 teams in the country at that point. So bottom line, it's going to be a heck of a challenge when it's all said and done. But the SEC could be a mirror image of the national championship.
Coach, you have had a lot of success in this golf world. You've had a lot of really successful teams. What specifically about this team stands out to you?
Well, we're senior dominated. We've got Christian Moss, who's number 2 in PGA Tour University. We got Tommy Morrison, who's number 4 in PGA Tour University, and Luke Potter, who's currently ranked number 7. So those are our seniors. Cool thing about PGA Tour University, by the way, is that it keeps these guys in college, and we're very thankful to the PGA Tour for that. But in the meantime, it gives you a lot of experience and desire, because there's no question that these guys want to go out with a flurry and they want to play hard for the University of Texas. They want to play hard for themselves. And it's just a wonderful team that we have right now. They all care about each other. They love each other. It's interesting because I hear that from our basketball teams and football teams, but it's prevalent, and it's inside our team.
And I do want to bring up Scotty Scheffler, because you talked about not being distracted. And I remember hearing a story that you told about him being distracted by his wife, Meredith, that you kind of had to teach him how to compartmentalize and focus on the task at hand. Can you kind of take us through the backstory of that?
Yeah, no question. When he was a freshman and he first landed on the 40 acres, he was really struggling. He wasn't playing the kind of golf that he normally would. Mm-hmm. He was matriculating into the business school, which was a lot of pressure. And then Meredith was at Texas A&M, which is about 90 miles from here. And he was trying to get her to pay attention to him. And the bottom line is that he was very distracted, and nothing was going very well. And I remember he was very emotional. He was out on the range. I saw him on his phone, and I brought him into the office, and he was very emotional about where he was at the time. And obviously, he just come to Texas, so he's a brand new freshman, maybe a little homesick too, on top of everything else. And we talked about compartmentalizing. People ask me all the time, did I think that Scotty Scheffler would do what he's doing? In other words, be a major champion. And I always referred to him, I would tell him, Scotty, when you're a major champion, when you're a Ryder Cupper, because I did believe that he could do it, this is what it's going to look like. And what it's going to look like is that you're going to be compartmentalized in your life. When you're home, you're home. When you're with family, you're with family. When you're with your friends, you're with your friends. When you're in school, you're in school. And when you're with Meredith, that's where your brain, your heart, and your focus needs to be. And he really took that to heart. And I think he's done a great job of refining that. Even today, it's not easy to get a hold of Scotty Scheffler, I can tell you that. And it's just simply because he's doing what he needs to do right then and there, and he's not going to make room for anything else in that moment. And I'm not offended by that at all. I think what he's doing is significant. Jordan the same way, and all of our guys for that matter. And my wife Pearl and I have enjoyed being part of this for so many years. We're looking forward to a few more years. We got great people like Scott McConnell with our media people, and that make our world really nice. And then in the meantime, Chris Del Conte has given us a great opportunity. And I think all of our guys are really proud of this program as well. So whether it's Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Dylan Fratelli, Cody Gribble, Jonathan Vegas, Kramer Hickok, Bo Hostler, Doug Gim, the Cootie brothers, Cole Hammer. It doesn't matter. They're all proud of being Longhorns.
As we project here with Ty Simpson, he's the topic du jour. What are your expectations of him as he now goes into the pro? I'm not saying 3 years from now he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Just what you've seen of him in his 1 year as a starter.
Right. Well, I know his big statement here was him saying that he believes he is a first-round pick, which I don't have a problem with that statement. I think, it's never bad to believe in yourself and think you have potential to be a first rounder. And honestly, I don't think I would be surprised to see him go in the first round. Obviously, Mendoza, I think, will get that first pick, but he's definitely the next best quarterback available, and there's teams that need quarterbacks. So I wouldn't be surprised with him going in the first round.
Patrick will bring you in the fold here because obviously you also are a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. You guys have your quarterback solidified. But you found Dak Prescott in the fourth round, and these first round guys always seem to be like gambles. How much of a gamble do you think Ty Simpson is?
I think it's a pretty big gamble just seeing at what's ahead next year. Yeah. And I know Ty Simpson had a pretty good year up until the Oklahoma game. The Oklahoma game, the first one I should clarify, was the first time that we saw this Alabama offense really start to deteriorate, so to speak. We had a little bit of concern in the game against South Carolina, but you and I both chalked it up to, okay, they just played all of these ranked opponents in a row. They were obviously bound for a game that they just weren't going to be able to give 100% effort for.
Right.
But ever since that South Carolina game, the weaknesses were a bit exposed in this Alabama offense, especially in the running back position. I think if Alabama had a better running back room last year, Ty Simpson would have been able to make a bigger case to be that first-round pick.
Right.
But when you just take a look at his stats, first of all, I mean, they're great. Don't get me wrong. He had that perfect game against ULM.
Yeah, ULM. After the Florida State game.
After the Florida State game, which I think everybody wrote that team off after the Florida State game.
Yes.
You and I both, I know I definitely did, and I was proven wrong by Alabama's ability to get back to the college football playoff. But when you take a look around the college landscape, specifically with what's coming next year, you've got guys like Arch Manning that are projected to enter the draft next year. You've got guys, who knows what Marcel Reed's going to do? Who knows if Gunnar Stockton can play up to what he's done?
Will Sayin be available?
Sayin will be available. Yeah. Oh, and we haven't even talked about Sam Levitt yet over there at LSU.
Right.
There are so many good options. Dante Moore as well.
Yeah.
Like it is going to be such a loaded quarterback class that it almost feels like once this year's all said and done with the draft, no one's going to really be talking about it unless Mendoza has a really good year or one of these guys has a really good year, because all the focus is just going to be on next year's loaded class, kind of like what we saw this year in college basketball.
Right. I think that's part of the reason why Ty Simpson did leave this past year. I think a little bit was pretty strategic.
Yeah.
You want to go in a quarterback-heavy class next year and possibly everybody, pick holes and pick you apart.
For sure.
Or come out this year in a quote-unquote weaker class, maybe go middle of the first round, maybe late in the first round. You don't have to start your first year there. But when you brought up his stats earlier, the one stat that I see and I'm like, if I'm a fan, I want that, is the 5 interceptions. Now, it seemed like those interceptions came at a really, really bad time in those games as far as the timeliness of it.
Yeah.
But he took care of the football. You remember going back to the when he was vying for that job. I know you were with Auburn, you were knee deep with the Auburn Tigers at the time, but the whole battle for the starting quarterback job came down to who protects the football, because it seems like everybody can make the throws.
Yeah.
Everybody had good arm. Everybody could throw it deep. Everybody knew the playbook. It was like, who makes the fewest mistakes?
Right.
And it was Ty Simpson that made the fewest mistakes. Gus Malzahn is now on the committee. Patrick?
Yeah, and we were very grateful to have him on the show after he did announce his retirement in February, and it always seemed like he was prepping for one game every single year, and that was to beat Alabama, and it just felt so fitting that he was able to open his last season, I believe, as the offensive coordinator for Florida State, being able to get a dub over Alabama. And, I mean, I think this is great for the sport, and we were very fortunate enough to have him on to talk about the college football playoff.
Yeah,
wow.
we got a chance to talk to him, and he was great with us. This is soon after his retirement, and now understanding he was with Arkansas State, he was at Auburn, Central Florida. He kind of sees it from different parameters, and I think that he'll give the college football playoff committee a fresh voice as a coach who was just in it.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important to have someone that has the type of experience that he has in the coaching world. Having eyes that have been a part of it and really understand the ins and outs of college football will be crucial to the selection committee.
Do we have time for that sound? I think we do. Here's from Gus Malzahn from earlier this year in our show. You are uniquely qualified to talk about this because the championship format has changed so much just in your time. Went from the BCS, and then you had a 14 playoff. Now you have a 12-team playoff. You were at a school in Central Florida who claims the national championship. Auburn added a few national championships that they claim as well. As far as the championship format now and what they're doing, and maybe the extension, maybe adding teams, what is your overall thoughts about the way college football right now is crowning a national champion?
I think it was really neat for the fans this past year. And I think, from a fan standpoint, if you can do the same thing for a year or two just so they kind of get used to it, and I think teams and coaches get used to it, I think that's important. I mean, I'd like them to see the calendar kind of move everything up and maybe have the championship game a week or so earlier. I think that would help a lot of the coaches and the recruiting and the portal. But, I kind of liked it. I think the fans, liked it. So, we'll see what happens.
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. Much more to come.
Yes, and remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app.
You can download the app on your Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and Samsung TV device.
Welcome back into Sports Overtime, and Gerhard with the Masters just around the corner. We've been enjoying lots of local golf.
Yeah, great local golf here. We've had the Snedeker Memorial Tournament, the Light Scratch Tour on deck. No better person to talk to about local golf than our golf expert and good friend. We call him JR. Here's John Rachetti.
We're going to have a 4-ball this year, one-day 4-ball, which is new this year. It's going to be at Rock Creek in the middle of April. Obviously, the Metro Championship and then the Miller Masters we'll have, and just also, golf has continued to boom around here. As we talked earlier, there's 3 new golf courses opening up here within the year on the Gulf Coast. And, the one here in Point Clear, the Point Clear Club, which is a Tom Fazio golf club, which is going to be a national club, which is going to be absolutely spectacular golf course. I've been fortunate enough to tour the facility and so forth as they're building it as we speak. And it's going to be a top shelf a club right here in Mobile, Baldwin County, which will be great for the folks who are fortunate enough to join. There's a lot of great equipment out there. I think that the Callaway, the new Quantum driver that they've come out now with Callaway I think it's the best one I've hit so far of all the years that I've been hitting the Callaway club. I think the new Quantum equipment is second to none, and I encourage you to get out there and give it a shot, get fit for it, and see your local PGA Pro. High school golf is kicked off now, and I know we got a lot of teams throughout Mobile, Baldwin County playing in the high school season, and I continue to see kids and younger kids at a younger age starting golf now. I see young kids 4, 5, 6 years old on the driving range. I think the game itself is in a great spot, and it just continues to prosper. We've got to just keep on promoting the game here on the Gulf Coast.
And to see you catch up with Corey Curtis. And Corey, we talked with you last week. We were in the middle of the action, so to speak, as far as this women's basketball team in their season. We just saw the men lose in heartbreaking fashion. The women kind of do so as well, a 3-point loss to Notre Dame in the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16. What'd you make of this overall game and watching 2 superstars really go at it at the highest level?
Well, I think, you have to say Hannah Hidalgo was the best player on the floor, right? I mean, we knew going in she was the best on-the-ball defender in college basketball, and that was, largely, one of the differences in the ball game because, Michaela got her points, but it took too many shots to get there. I think the second thing is, I don't know how many of these Notre Dame ladies have been there before, but this program has clearly been there before. And I think that is also a difference. I think it's one of the things that Shea Ralph talked about, having to go through this to take the next step. So I think there's some of that. And it's just that Vanderbilt just needs more. They need They need more depth. They need more scoring depth on the team. Because outside of the starting five, there wasn't much there. And when you lose a Camille Pierre and an Ayanna Moore, who started for Notre Dame, that's a lot. That's a lot. You bring back those two ladies on this team, and I think you're very well talking about a Final Four team that can contend for the national championship. But when you lose two players of that caliber, and you really don't have the bodies to replace them, and they also had an injury in the preseason. I forgot her name, Black, who could shoot from the perimeter. That was three players who could score for them that they lost, and so she's got some work to do to bring in more bodies. But Shea Ralph is somebody I don't worry about, and Michaela Blakes is somebody I don't worry about. They'll learn from this, they'll get better, and congrats to Notre Dame. They did what they needed to do to win the team, and Hannah Hidalgo is a special player, which is why we were excited about this matchup, right? Because we knew it was two of the best players in the country going head to head. But we also saw Audrey Galvin look pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting for next year that she's coming back.
Talked about Dylan Volantis since the start of the season. He kind of got smacked around a little bit yesterday. I know Texas
12 singles. How about that?
Yeah, I mean that sometimes it is just baseball. Like Paul Skeens got knocked out by the Mets, and it was just swinging bunts. And O'Neal Cruz should never play the outfield ever again. Is there any sort of concern there for the mental side of pitching? Because as I remember, pitching is so mental that sometimes you could really get in your own head, even when it's not your fault.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And it was funny because Skeens last week, that was Volantis pitched 2 days later at Auburn, and he had trouble getting through the first inning. He threw over 30 pitches in the first inning. And so he was behind the 8 ball. And even though he didn't give up a run, they had to pull him after 4 because of the pitch count. A little bit different story. He kept the pitch count down on Saturday, but yeah, he got hit. And again, it was, death by 1,000 paper cuts with all those singles, but he didn't give up many free bases. So maybe, he was a guy that had to develop a couple of more pitches coming out of the bullpen to being a starter. But I think all things considered, if that's your guy on game 3 of a series, they feel pretty good, and they've been able to overcome. He hasn't lost, and they haven't lost in one of his starts. So, we got struggled with command 2 weeks ago, and then this week he got hit a little bit. So, sure, there's always a bit of concern.
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. Much more to come.
Yes, and remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app.
You can download the app on your Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and Samsung TV device.
It's hard for me to say because I'm just thinking about like the little kids who, don't fully understand the tournaments yet and are still getting to watch their favorite players play, like from,
So, wait, this is an interesting thing though, and this is going to be an interesting development. Are you a second place trophy
like a
person?
Participation
like a participation trophy.
This is a generational thing.
This
and
is-
I cannot wait for
I
this.
am not a
Yes.
participation trophy type of person.
Good.
I was just thinking from like a fan perspective, some people can be excited to watch the NIT championship. Would I be excited if Tennessee was playing in an NIT championship? No, I wouldn't be excited.
Well, I think West Virginia plays in the Crown starting on Wednesday, I think. So I don't know if they won the Crown. See, but I feel like the Crown's a little bit different because if you do win, you get NIL money.
Right. It's real dollars.
Yeah,
So,
it's not like just a random banner, which if Auburn does win, it's going to go up right next to the Final Four banner from last year.
It's like almost like the play-in tournament in the NBA. It's like, do you even reward this? Do you reward this? The thing is also, too, I think with the NIT, like the very first thing I thought of when Auburn said yes, I was shocked that Auburn said yes. And like Gabriella said earlier, you have to win if you're going to play in this tournament. You have to win. So the way they were down 11 sent to South Alabama, no disrespect to South Alabama, it was like, ooh, did Auburn make a good decision here to even play this tournament? Well, now they've won 3 straight. But the whole time I kept saying, well, I think Florida State said no to this tournament.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma said no to this tournament.
Said no.
I think Belmont said no to this tournament. So it's kind of like you're expected to be here. And for that, I think you can feel good because you had the results that you want to. Now you got to finish it off. Give me the $5. You say she's doing it for the kids.
I'm doing it for the kids. I
She's
mean,
playing NIT with the kids.
if it was $100, it might be a different story. But five. Come on now, guys.
$5. She's saying,
I'm taking the $5 and I'm going in the break room and buying a snack.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for Sports Overtime.
And remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m.
Good night.